If y'all are seeing me for the first time, my name is Tracy. I'm the creator and I run our YouTube channel, but I also am the author of our blogs. And if you want like a readable tutorial version of a lot of our videos of what we're all about here at 4D Farms, we're all about faith, family, home, and farm. You can catch us on our blogs at 4dfarms.blogspot.com and 4dfarms.wordpress.com. Project is taking and melting down 8 pounds of pork fat into that delicious, nutritious, solidified oil that we call lard. Yes and amen, you heard that right. And I'm going to walk you through our process, and this is how we do it. That's the quickest and easiest way for us. We put all of our pork fat into our big roaster oven, lowest setting, and let it melt and render down overnight. You want low and slow because you don't want to cook your oil and make it smell like a cooked oil. This is what it looks like the next morning. It separates the pork pieces from the oil, and the oil is what you want to pour up into jars or containers, and you can even use those pork pieces, y'all, and we'll get to that in a minute. I'm getting my jars warmed up because I've got warm liquid, and I'm going to get my workstation set up with all that I need. I'm going to be getting my lids warmed up and ready because I want a good seal on these. So I've already got those in some warm or hot water. I've got my ladle, and I've got my funnel, a metal fine strainer, but I've got an extra cheesecloth, and I'll explain that too once we get going. So I've got my jar, a couple of my jars out. I'm just going to do a couple at a time so the other jars can remain warm. I've got my cheesecloth, y'all, as extra straining because when you're rendering down these little pork pieces, there can be little giblets of meat, sediments, particles that's going to fall off those pork pieces, and you do not want that in your oil because you will not wind up with a clear, clarified, pure white, solidified lard. So I'm choosing to double strain. There are so many ways that you can render lard. You can either get up that morning, dump all your fat in there, melt it and strain it and pour it at the same time, but this way was just easier for us to just let it melt overnight and start this project the next morning. I got all my things ready last night, washed my jars, washed my lids and rings, and all I had to do this morning was get up, just do a little prep work, prepare, set up, and now we're getting this strained. Look at that gold liquid. I'm going to bust a myth here. There's your little particle pieces that you don't want winding up in your oil, so this is the reason for the cheesecloth. But let's bust a myth here. Y'all, this is what our ancestors grew up cooking and baking with. There wasn't as many heart disease and cholesterol problems as we have today. So that's all I'm going to say about that. You can make your own decisions. We're going to get back to sometimes cooking with more lard and oil, lard and tallow and things like that in our home, and get away from some of these other different kind of oils. Okay? So that's all I'm going to say about that. I will just leave you to your own conclusion of the information that I just gave you. So we are going to finish filling up these jars with this oil until it's all gone out of the roaster. I'm switching the ladle because the lower that I get the level of the oil, I'm dipping down into the pork fat pieces, but that's okay. I'm eventually going to have to get the pork fat pieces out, but that's what I'm trying to get, as much of the oil out as possible right now. So I'm going to finish filling up my jars just like this. Then I'm going to start scooping out the pork fat pieces. But I'm trying to be as careful as possible and not stirring the pork fat pieces around. I'm just trying to get this to go quickly. So we're going to finish that. And this is how I finally got down to the bottom, and then I started scooping out the pork fat pieces, squeezing some more oil out, putting it in the jar, reserving the pork fat pieces, because y'all, that's where you get your cracklings from when you fry these babies up. So there you go, that's our process. And here we are after all of it's done. 8 pounds of pork fat rendered down to almost full 3 quarts of lard. Now this is still warm. It has not solidified yet. As soon as it solidifies, it will turn a pure white color. That lets you know that you got all the sedatives out and all those bad things. You want a pure white solidified lard by the time you're done. On the side, oh y'all, one night we are going to have some fried cracklings and possibly turn it into some crackling cornbread with some pinto beans and ham one night. Yes, I do like doing things the old-fashioned way. So there you go. 8 pounds of lard. 8 pounds of pig fat. And I got cracklings for a few nights and some crackling cornbread. Almost 3 full quarts of that liquid gold that's going to turn white. There you go, y'all. Rendering lard does not have to be complicated, okay? And we're fixing to get another hog, so I'm going to have even more. So there you go. Make sure you store these in a pantry somewhere that pretty much stays cool. I'm going to be researching some more about longer shelf life. But y'all, the Amish and the Mennonites, they don't do all that, okay? And their lard can last them for a year or so, okay? But for right now, I'm going to be storing these. I've already heard 1 jar pop, so it's already tried to seal. That's going to help keep any water or anything out, any kind of bacteria, anything like that. So, yeah. We got another hog coming. We're going to store these in our pantry back there that stays pretty cool. It never gets hot in there. So yeah, I won't have to worry about anything remelting or any kind of moisture getting inside the jars as long as it stays solidified. This one's probably going to go in the refrigerator and we're going to use it first. So there you go. You can render your own lard and use it cooking, baking, whatever, frying, sauteing. You can also use lard in beauty products. Okay, so I'm going to be doing some more research on that. So there you go. See you in the next video.